Thanks for sharing your time with us. We really appreciate it. Thank you to Workspace for sharing your space with us. And thank you to Great Lakes Audio and Visual for providing technical support. If you're not familiar with GSP, we're a regional chamber of commerce and economic development organization. We promote, we develop, we engage across business, community, and talent. If you'd like to learn more about GSP, you can find our annual reports outside in the lobby, or you can visit our website at greatersandusky.com or talk to any of the staff members that are in the audience today. We'd be happy to share. We're hosting these forums tonight to help provide as much information as possible about our candidates who wish to serve our communities. Without further ado, I'd like to pass it off to Patrick Shepard, who will be our moderator tonight. Thank you.
Thank you, Alyssa, and good evening, everybody. My name is Patrick Shepard from the Greater Sandusky Partnership, and it's my pleasure to welcome you to this Election 2025 candidate forum featuring the candidates for Sandusky City Commission. There are 5 candidates, and the 3 top vote getters will be elected. Let's get right to the format for tonight's conversation and then to opening statements. The order and seating for tonight's forum was determined by a random draw just about 15 minutes ago. Each candidate will have an opening statement for 90 seconds. After that, each candidate will have 60 seconds to respond to each question. Kylie Dorsey is our GSP intern and will be our timekeeper tonight. Kylie's right there. She will flip up signs when the candidate has 30 seconds remaining and 15 seconds remaining. She will ring the bell. Kylie, will you? Time has expired, and she will show a sign as well to wrap up. We will ask as many questions as time permits before we go to closing statements as we approach the top of the hour. As a reminder, this forum is scheduled to wrap up at 7 o'clock as we have a Perkins Township Trustee forum that follows at 7:30. A reminder to our audience, please remain respectful and courteous throughout this forum. That means no applause, cheering, or booing during the candidate's remarks. Let's be sure that everyone can hear from each candidate equally in a civil, community-minded setting. So let's get to opening statements. Please tell us why you are running and share a little bit about yourself. You have 90 seconds. And again, by random draw from left to right, Timothy A. Schwanger.
Yes, I'm Tim Schwanger, running for Sandusky City Commission. It's great to see everybody here. I see some familiar faces. Really appreciate you coming out. Born and raised in the city of Sandusky, graduated from Sandusky High School in 1976. I've spent the last 45 years on your side of the commission table, on the resident side. It's now time for me to sit on the city commission side to help further Sandusky into the future. I've attended countless city commission meetings over the last 40 years, including committee meetings. I've served on 3 different city commission appointed committees, most recently on the Charter Review Committee. I have 5 main top issues that I'd like to help in the future to better Sandusky. And those would be higher paying jobs for the city of Sandusky. Sandusky cannot survive into the future with only service oriented jobs. We need real jobs for Sanduskyans in Sandusky. Rental assistance, home exterior improvement program needs to be expanded beyond the $3,000 that each person is now allowed to tap into. The Sandusky transit system is costing the city of Sandusky a lot of money. I'd like to go to a Erie Regional Transit Authority for that. And lastly, the transient rental issue. Airbnbs have been kicked down the road for the last 36 months. It's time to fix that. Thank you.
Next up, Patricia Ferguson. Oh, I'm sorry, Luvada Wilson. I apologize.
Don't forget me. My name is Luvada Wilson, and I too am running for city commissioner. I was born and raised here in Sandusky, and I am a proud graduate of Sandusky High School, graduating with Tim during the bicentennial year of 1976, way back. Thereafter, I went to Spelman College in Atlanta, and I earned a Bachelor of Art degree in political science. Once I returned to Sandusky in the mid-'80s, I married, and I had 2 children, and I now have 4 grandchildren, and they are the joy of my life. When I first moved back to Sandusky, I was employed by Sandusky City Schools for at least 10 years. Thereafter, I was a case manager at Firelands Mental Health, and then finally, I landed at what I call home with the county as a probation officer. I worked with Judge Mashari and then Judge Tome before being your next city commissioner. Thanks.
All right, thank you. Now, Patricia Ferguson.
Hi, I'm Patricia Ferguson, and some of the places I used to work was the Huron Police Department, Ohio State University as a nutrition aide. I went into the homes and I've serviced probably 300 or more homes just teaching nutrition. I worked at the Veterans Home for a full 15 years. But the reason why I'm here today, I had called Dennis Murray some months ago. And I said, Honorable Dennis Murray, do you all have a disaster center? And he said, no. And if you can go back in 2023 and 2024, we've had a lot of storms, threats of tornado, fast winds. And we have a lot of people that walk to work and walk to the store. And I feel that we need a disaster center. Thank you.
Thank you. Gregg Peugeot.
Thank you. And thank you to Workspace in Kara Groff. This is an absolutely beautiful building, and it's amazing what's been done with it. I travel for work to big cities, and this is a big city type of facility, and it's really neat to have it here in Sandusky. I was really impressed walking around here for the first time. And thank you to the Greater Sandusky Partnership. I appreciate everyone taking the time to organize this and make our voices available to you, the audience and the voters, so that you can hear what we have to say. My name is Gregg Peugeot. My wife, Sarah, is in the audience along with my mom and my mother-in-law. My wife and I are both Sandusky High School graduates. She's 1995, I'm 1996. After going to Sandusky High School, I went off to the University of Akron, then went to law school at Cleveland State University. Since 2003, graduating then, I have been practicing law for the last 22 years. And I'm looking forward to working with the current commission to make Sandusky better, safer, and more affordable. And we've got a really good plan to do that.
All right, thank you. Finally, Tom Tucker.
Good evening. I'm Tom Tucker, and I'm a candidate for Sandusky City Commission. For the first 24 years of my career, I was a band teacher and an active labor leader. Became principal of an urban high school and became superintendent of Sandusky City Schools in 2010. At that time, the downturn of the economy, Sandusky had many challenges. After a decade of strong civic leadership, it's the envy of many similar cities. I do believe that Sandusky's best days are ahead. Being superintendent of both Sandusky and Lorain City Schools, I have decades of public sector experience to responsibly oversee the city budget and future projects. My past practice shows I've always been responsible to community needs and desires. I have experience searching for ways to fund local needs with outside grants, available funding in addition to local tax dollars. I plan to work with the business community and regional stakeholders to attract public and private investment in Sandusky. I serve on the Alcohol, Drug Addiction, and Mental Health Board of Erie County and continue to advocate for young people and those in need of assistance. We see and hear about the challenges of our people in our community. I'm past president of the Sandusky Rotary Club and always participate in our annual Winter Clothes Kids program. My wife, Diane, and I have been married for 47 years, and we have a daughter, Amy, who lives and works in Columbus, and this is either good or bad. She was a member of the Ohio State Marching Band from 2005 to 2010, and we have always supported our local businesses and civic organizations, and we're incredibly proud to live in Sandusky, so together, let's keep moving forward in a positive direction.
All right, thank you. So we are going to rotate who goes first with these questions, and our first question of this forum, we'll start with Luvada Wilson. Since the passage of Issue 8, the city of Sandusky has made significant investments in its neighborhoods, downtown, and along the waterfront. As a city commissioner, how would you work to continue this progress if you're elected to this position?
Well, I think that Issue 8 was a a very important um, issue in which to pass. It was approved in 2014, and it included an income tax increase coupled with Cedar Point emission tax increase. It generates $2.6 million annually, and it is used to improve street, parks, to maintain the recreation center, the state theater, the waterway between the city and Cedar Point, and now the causeway and the bike walking path. I think it is important for us to continue those efforts and to make the citizens of Sandusky aware of all that is meant for them.
Thank you. Patricia Ferguson.
Well, I thank God for the improvements that they have made downtown. But when I called Dennis Murray, my concern was about safety. Again, I told him that I was having dreams after dreams, and sometimes God speaks to his people through dreams, that there will be a terrible flood downtown. I don't know if it is or not, but I did make him aware that I was concerned about safety. And again, I want to encourage the disaster center.
All right. Thank you. Gregg Peugeot.
Thanks. I'm impressed with the progress, especially compared to the way Sandusky looked 29 years ago when I left to go to college, and even the progress I've seen over the last 8 years since me and my family and our children have been back. I'm going to continue that progress by communicating and collaborating with key partners that we have in Sandusky, on our team in the city of Sandusky, and the partners we have around us, like our amusement park, our Erie County, and the Greater Sandusky Partnership, and our other local communities that we have here. We're gonna collaborate and relentlessly communicate. Thanks.
Thank you. Tom Tucker.
I agree that we've made a lot of progress with that money. The thing that a lot of people sometimes forget is our income tax is one of the lowest for county seats in the state of Ohio, which is really good. That 4% has done amazing things for the city. It's paved roads. It's done a lot of good work, and I agree to keep on that same progress and investing wisely. The key is now we need to work a little bit more in the home area, the housing area. That has been a challenge, and you can just see it. Serving on the mental health board, I hear a lot about that and the challenges, and a lot of our community members are there. So that's one area I'd like to take a look at.
Thank you. Timothy Schwanger.
Yes, I support issue 8 as far as business loans, but that's exactly what they should be, is a loan paid back so that that money gets recycled back to additional businesses in the city of Sandusky. What I do not support is taking $27 million from the admissions tax and handing it back to Cedar Point for their private causeway project. I will not support that if that becomes before me if I get elected. I think it's very important that we find a way to spend more of that money in the other neighborhoods besides downtown. Downtown looks great, wonderful, but I think that the other outlying neighborhoods are being shortchanged, and we need to find a way to get more money out into the neighborhoods.
All right. Well, first of all, I want to thank the candidates. We haven't had to use the bell so much so far, but we are going to move to the next question. And Patricia Ferguson, you'll be the first to answer this. As a city commissioner, what would be your top economic development priority, and who would be your key partners in that priority?
Well, first of all, I hope I can get, if I'm elected, I hope I can get those that sit on the commission to agree with me. And my goal would be that disaster center. Safety is the priority, I feel. My friend who lives in one of those condominiums near the water and the boats, I think 3 times they have had water flood within the building itself. So I think we need to work on safety.
Thank you. Gregg Peugeot.
Thank you. my top economic priorities would be affordable housing and neighborhood development. Those are the two big ones for me. I love what the city has done with the Welcome Home Ohio program, with that $3.5 million grant that's going to produce 35 homes. And I'm excited about that. I serve on the Board of Zoning Appeals for the city, and I also serve on the Firelands Habitat for Humanity Board. I think I can leverage my experience and my relationships on those boards to further improve affordable housing in Sandusky and improve our neighborhoods. Key partners are, again, it's Erie County, it's the Greater Sandusky Partnership, it's the communities around us, and it's the voters and the people.
Tom Tucker.
Priority, I would agree with my colleagues. Housing is a great priority for that. Key partners are the business partners out there that can help do this. You have to pay for a lot of these things, so you need to get partners out there that can help do that. The other key priority is to complete the projects that are there. So many communities have started projects and don't complete them, but that's one. But the housing and getting the key partners on that and talking to other communities who have also done that. This commission has done a terrific job getting that started, but that is one area that we need to work on.
Timothy Schwanger.
Here's a number for you, people. 24% of Sandusky residents live in poverty. We have a poverty issue in the city of Sandusky. We have a housing problem in the city of Sandusky. We're selling houses now that are being built for $180,000. What I'm hearing in the community is we can't afford that. It all goes back to good paying jobs. We can't survive on 15 or lower dollar an hour jobs. We need to get higher paying. I know the days of New Departure and Ford are gone, but there's absolutely no effort right now to bring in living wage jobs into the city of Sandusky. I'm hoping if I get elected that 6 other commissioners, or at least 3 other ones, agree with my position on that. Thank you.
Luvada Wilson.
Yes, the kind of commissioner that I want to be is one that listens, applies all the facts, and then uses wisdom. And what I have been listening to is people in the area talking about affordable housing. I had a young lady call me and say, my husband and I are divorcing. I want to know do you know of any programs? I did tell her about the Welcome Home Ohio, but she was looking more at an apartment type thing. And making $14 an hour, trying to get an apartment between $1,200 and $1,800 a month is difficult. So I think we have to figure out a way to make housing affordable for the citizens of Sandusky.
Thank you. All right, Gregg Peugeot, you're first up on this question. The city is responsible for our local streets, parks, utilities, and other infrastructure. As a city commissioner, how would you prioritize maintaining and improving the city's infrastructure?
The city's infrastructure, it's a neighborhood issue. So I'd prioritize it through the neighborhoods, and having adequate water and sewer, having sidewalks that you don't trip over, having streets that don't have a lot of potholes. Those are very important things to me personally, and to the neighborhoods in Sandusky. So I would prioritize it by focusing as much as possible on getting those key infrastructure improvements to the neighborhoods as soon as possible.
Tom Tucker.
The city does have a study on a lot of this area, and they have been doing quite a bit of work. I know we've all complained about Monroe this last year, and depending on whatever street you go on, depending on where it is, we all have that. We are making progress. There is more being done. The problem with a lot of that is you see the downtown because that's where everybody goes, and you see the waterfront because people go there. There is a lot of progress in the neighborhoods. Is there enough? Absolutely not. More needs to go there. But the problem is people don't travel in those neighborhoods as much, so you don't quite see what's being done. It was interesting doing the study and looking at what the city has done streetwise, and that there's been a lot more done than I anticipated. And I think we should be doing more of that as we move forward.
Timothy Schwanger.
Yes, in 2014, the city's budget was $16 million. That's $16 million in revenue and $16 million in expenditures. In 2024, it was $32 million in revenue and $34 million in expenditures. There, with that kind of money, there's no reason why we are behind in improving our infrastructure citywide. As I walk the neighborhoods getting signatures for city commission, as I'm walking right now to going door to door, I'm seeing some conditions that are deplorable. I mean, it almost looks like a third world country, and that needs to be fixed. We spent $100 million in downtown Sandusky alone. It's time to get into the neighborhoods and see what they need, whether it be a grocery store out to the west end. You know, we just need to expand ourselves outside of downtown. Thank you.
Luvada Wilson.
Well, one of the things that I have been thinking about as far as improving the city infrastructure is that of respect for our citizens. And one of the things there is our bus stops. Our bus stops need to be sheltered. All of them in the city of Sandusky need to be sheltered. It shouldn't matter that you have to ride a bus. You need to have shelter if you have to stand and wait in weather elements. Also, we need to continue to address the upkeep of roads. Downtown is beautiful, but let's not make it downtown or East End, West End, or South Side. Let's have it downtown and I know that that is a progression that is continuing, but I just want to see more of it.
Patricia Ferguson.
Well, the young man said that they spent $100 million almost downtown. My concern is the residents themselves. It's only, I think, under 25,000 residents in this city. Just look, if I took $100 million and just give just all of them $100,000, they still will have some money left to do things. But the key is some of the residents' sewers are backing up in their house. So I would take the money and replace all sewers for the residents. The key is the residents pay the taxes, let them benefit from the money.
Thank you. All right, Tom Tucker, you're going to be the first to answer this question about a topic that has already come up. Housing is an issue in every area across the nation, including Sandusky. What strategies would you support as a city commissioner to increase the availability and affordability of housing in Sandusky?
Well, the Welcome Home program is a very good start, and that's actually going to grow. I don't know that I'm the expert on that, and we need to do a lot more research on that. One thing that we also need to do is you create some jobs to help some of these folks afford what they have there. And the one thing that you have forgotten is that a lot of the upgrades to the businesses and upgrades to the city has brought in a lot of money. That's why that budget has gone up. And can reach out. There's a lot of grants. I'm familiar with a lot of grants with the school system, and there's a lot of affordable housing and money to do that. That is a challenge. We're not the only community in the country that's dealing with this, in the state, in the area. This is a challenge across the country, and it's something hopefully we can reach out and work with others to solve, but there is money available for that.
Timothy Schwanger.
Yes, as I mentioned earlier, rental assistance, whether that comes through local, state, or federal funding, there's a chance that community development block grant funds, say that quick, could be used for rental assistance. One of the things that we forget is that city commissioners are second below the Sandusky residents, and then down below the city commission is the city manager, and below that is all the departments. We pay people good money as department heads to come up with ideas on what to do in the community, whether it be, recreation or in the neighborhoods. And I think that we need to rely or give the department heads some guidance on what we'd like to see based on your input, not based on the city commission's input, but the community's input. And when I get elected, I hope to see every one of you at a city commission meeting, every one.
Luvada Wilson.
Affordable housing is definitely a top priority of mine. And I'm not sure what we do to exactly tackle the problem, except that we have to work together in order to do it. Perhaps we have an area where we can see the plats of land that the city now owns, and we could sell that land to a builder for a cheaper amount of cost or inexpensive amount of cost. That way, a building can be built there and apartment houses can be built. But we have to work together in order that something is done to address the affordability of homes and apartments here in the city of Sandusky.
Patricia Ferguson.
Sir, could you repeat the question?
Certainly. Housing is an issue in every area across the nation, including Sandusky. What strategies would you support as a city commissioner to increase the availability and affordability of housing in Sandusky?
Well, again, going back to the residents, if they can give downtown businesses $100 million to do their projects, I feel that if you look online, they got like little tiny houses and portable houses. Some of those houses is only $10,000. Why don't you bring some of them $10,000 homes or $15,000 homes and put them on lots? And that will help, especially seniors that might be living by themselves.
Gregg Peugeot.
Thank you. Affordable housing is really important to me. The best thing we can do right now is to do a great job with the Welcome Home Ohio program. We've got $3.5 million that was given to us. We've got to spend it wisely. We've got to put up 35 phenomenal homes. That's going to put us in a position to go back and get more of that grant money in the future, because we show that we can do it and we can do it right. And we're the best place to invest in the state of Ohio. I think this ties into economic development, though. Like some folks have talked about up here, we need to drive better wages so that people can afford better homes and afford the rent. That's where economic development comes in. And that's also what's going to drive tourism taxes so that the locals aren't paying for these projects, that it's the tourists that are paying for them.
Thank you. All right, Timothy Schwanger, we're back to you to lead this round. How would you involve local business leaders in shaping policy decisions that affect economic development?
Well, that's a tough one right there, isn't it? I believe that the city has several different committees, and I don't think that we're using our committees to the best of their ability. And I think that we may even need to maybe establish a new committee or a board on economic development just for the city of Sandusky. I think that part of that would also be hiring a economic development director for the city of Sandusky to kind of lead that charge to get the businesses in the community and just regular residents also involved in future economic development.
Luvada Wilson.
Well, I think in order for economic development to thrive, that we have to reach out to businesses in the city of Sandusky to see what efforts that they can put forward as far as infrastructure or housing or healthcare, in order that the citizens can profit from it. I also think that we need to begin to try to attract businesses from outside of the area. Maybe they won't be able to set up themselves in Sandusky, but somewhere close in a surrounding area, so that our people can go to work there making more than $14 or $15 an hour to sustain a household.
Thank you. Patricia Ferguson.
Sir, would you repeat the question?
Yes. How would you involve local business leaders in shaping policy decisions that affect economic development?
Okay. Well, I had talked to Mr. John Houghty, and I told him about my goal of wanting a disaster center here. And I asked him to look for some land or property that would fit in my budget. And I feel that the best way to do things is just go to the person or the business. You know, personal contact, I believe you get more out of a business if you personally sit down with them and have a plan and a strategy.
Gregg Peugeot.
Thank you. I'd listen and I'd learn from our business leaders. I want to know what makes doing business in Sandusky easy and what makes it hard. I want to hear their answers to those questions about why we can put a business here and why we can't. You do that by what I said at the beginning, communication and collaboration. You work together and you find out how everyone at the table can do business together.
Tom Tucker.
I agree with that. One of the things when I started to work here was there was 4 or 5 different organizations that were all doing that work. And in the last 4 or 5 years, we've got the Greater Sandusky Partnership who's sponsoring that. And they do a lot of that work. And that would be someone who you would be collaborating with, because they're not just Sandusky, they're regional, and jobs are regional. Yes, it would be great to have it in here, but Sandusky really is landlocked with a lot of areas in building a lot of businesses. And we need to, if it goes to some other place, that's fine, but they're the ones that would spur the economic development. That's what they do. That's the folks that are there. They're the experts in it. A lot of them have worked in incredible industries to make that happen. And I would say to partner and collaborate with them.
Luvada Wilson, you're first up with this question.
Man.
Safety and the perception.
You're doing good, Luvada.
Safety and the perception of safety are a challenge for the ability of the city to attract investment and new residents. What, as a city commissioner, would you do to improve safety in the city of Sandusky?
Well, I think we need to implement new community policies to maintain trust between the residents and law enforcement. I think our law enforcement does a good job. But I know that Chief Oliver has talked about not being able to recruit officers. And so one of the things that I am saying is let's get back to neighborhood officers and going into schools. And they do that, but let's do it more readily to make sure that our neighborhoods stay safe and that we can attract businesses into the city.
Patricia Ferguson.
The safety part, I live about 2 minutes from the train, and I see so many young people walking with their backpacks from the train to wherever, and sometimes they don't even know where they're going. I think throughout the city, we need to have a billboard that would direct them from the train to their destination. You know what I mean? Some kind of map that would direct them. And again, it's all about safety.
Gregg Peugeot.
Thank you. We have a great police and fire department here in Sandusky. I've had a chance to sit down with Chief Oliver and with Mario with the fire department. I've had a chance to tour the facilities. We have great facilities for police and fire here. But safety is our police department's doing a great job, but it's a community effort, and it gets solved by everyone being at the table. It gets solved by improving our neighborhoods. It gets solved by having more affordable housing that people own and are proud of and take care of and manage the safety of their streets because they're so proud of where they live and how it looks and where they're from. We can help the police department that way by just working together and communicating regularly and continuing our great police work that Chief Oliver's got going.
Tom Tucker.
It's difficult to answer a question when you agree with everything that people have said before you. The one thing I will say is I've talked with Chief Oliver also, and I worked with Chief Orszak prior to him when I was in the schools. The school resource officers are key to your community and what happens, what goes on in the schools and what those officers know. And as a former principal, trust me, we knew a lot before the regular police and the parents knew. And that is key to keep that going and keep that conversation going. If you look at the statistics, and I have looked at the statistics, a lot of it is exactly what was mentioned earlier, is students and younger people. So we need to really work on that. Give him the opportunity to hire more officers, which is a challenge right now, not just here, but everywhere, and work with the school resource officers to get back to the community, to work together to solve the problem.
Timothy Schwanger.
Yes, one of the issues that the Charter Review Committee looked at this year was a charter amendment that would allow the police chief to open up recruitment, the recruitment process, to be able to get more recruits to sign up for the police department. I think we need to have additional patrols. This past Monday, there were shots fired at the Jackson Street Pier. There was somewhat of a fight on the pier, and that's happening way too frequently. We're having guns coming into this community from Detroit. I talked to the police chief the other day. He said we're even seeing guns in the community that are made out of plastic that they make on whatever high technology we have nowadays. I think we need to get back to community policing, having substations in certain areas of the city of Sandusky. And I think we need to get back to having reserve officers also. I talked to the police chief. There is no reserves right now.
Patricia Ferguson, you're first on this question. What do you see as the city's role in developing strong neighborhoods in Sandusky?
Well, I don't know if there's still active block, I'm gonna call them block parties, but I think we need to go back to the block party where the neighbors know each other. Sometimes the neighbors are so distant, how can you get anything accomplished if the neighbors don't even talk to each other? So I think we need to encourage more block parties.
Gregg Peugeot.
Thanks. I think for neighborhood development and for neighborhoods to improve, we can partner with our schools and we can make sure the infrastructure is there that we talked about earlier, making sure we've got adequate water and sewer going to all the houses in every neighborhood, making sure we've got good sidewalks, making sure we've got streets without potholes like we talked about before, and parks, a close walk or within our neighborhoods so that people have a place to go and enjoy themselves. Those are the things I think that the city can do and that we can help our team at the city on the commission.
Tom Tucker.
I agree. The schools and using the schools to help partner with that. On the website, there's a report from 2024. It's called Analysis of the Impediments to Fair Housing Choice. And a lot of this is talked about, and there's a lot of incredible data in there about some of the things we've talked about tonight. It analyzes a lot of the communities and gives you a lot of information as to what that is. I don't have an answer for that, but I'm willing to listen and look and reach out and see what other folks think we should do, because that is a major challenge.
Timothy Schwanger.
Yes, we've all heard about the broken windows syndrome. And what that is you see a house with a whole bunch of broken windows in it, and it just continues to snowball right down the street. I kind of touched on this before as far as we have a program that's for exterior home improvements. Right now, that program is capped at $3,000. A brand new roof costs $19,000, and we have people that cannot afford a $19,000 roof. And I think we need to increase that contribution to at least triple that amount.
Luvada Wilson.
The city's role in developing strong neighborhoods. I think one of the things we ought to do is have the commissioners more visible in the community. I should talk, the one who has this back brace on and hasn't been going door to door. But I think that is a wise thing to do. And we do need to partner with the schools and to maintain our streets. And I also think that the recreation center that is talked about being built with the, which will soon be coming, I think that that is a good beginning for neighborhoods getting together and being able to sponsor each other.
Gregg Peugeot, you're going to start this round. How would you involve local business leaders in shaping policy decisions that affect economic development?
I'd meet with them and I'd listen to them and I'd learn from them. This seems similar to one of the prior questions, so my answer will probably be similar. But I think that's something that here at the Greater Sandusky Partnership can help the commission with, help the city with. I think the county can help with that because we really need, like I said before, we need to know why it's easy and why it's hard for businesses in Sandusky. And once we have those answers, we can really help them, especially with the partnerships and the resources we have in this area.
Tom Tucker.
Pretty much the answer I had before. We have organization out there that already does a lot of that work and could fast track a lot of that and already has a lot of that data, and then get together with the commission and the city leaders to do that. Not just the commissioners, but you also have people in the city. That's what their job is, and that's what they're supposed to do. And then if you want to have open meetings with the business people, that's there. But we do have an organization right in town that does that work.
Timothy Schwanger.
Business involvement is important, but what's even more important is that you need to also include the residents in that discussion. There's been too many times when, we've had resident surveys or resident input meetings, and the outcome at the end of that is completely different than what the residents actually wanted. I'll give you an example. The recreation center, number 2 thing on the list was an outdoor pool. Guess what, people? We're not getting a pool, we're getting a splash pad. So there's been a lot of times when the commission and the department heads just don't listen to the public, the residents, and I think that's got to change. It's great to sit down with business leaders too, but like I said, you have to have community involvement as well, not just base your decision on the business input.
Luvada Wilson.
This is going to be real short. Listen to local business and the community. That's it.
Okay. Patricia Ferguson.
I think that the input of the businesses is fine. But if you look at when we pay our taxes, who is benefiting more? The businesses. And I think because the taxpayers is paying their money, they should start reaping more of the benefits.
Okay. Thank you. All right. This one's going to start with Tom Tucker. Describe your economic vision for Sandusky in 10 years. What's the first bold move you'd make as a commissioner to get there? And how will you hold yourself and the commission accountable year by year to make that vision real?
I'm just going to answer that with my past history. In the school districts I've been in, 2 of them were in financial crisis, and one went in financial crisis when the governor took back all our money to rebuild the state fund. At that point, you have to be fiscally responsible. You need to have plans in place. You need to have a plan on building and economic development. And we've been very fortunate financially and with our economics in the past decade here. But some of us that are looking out there at my age, we have lived through some tough times. We lived through 08, we lived through 01. Some of us even remember farther back in the inflation years of the 80s. And you have to be aware of that and be planned for that, because that could happen. Hopefully it never does, but you need to have plans in place to take care of those times when they happen with some reserves.
Timothy Schwanger.
I'll just use an example. If I were to vote tomorrow on the location of the Sandusky Recreation Center, it would have been a no. And here's why. We're taking prime industrial property out of the hands of industry and putting it in the hands of government who will not be paying property tax on that property. We have Mills School that is underutilized. We use it, but it's underutilized. We could have used that as a community rec center. We could have added tennis courts on the outside of it. And we could have just made improvements to make that a rec center at a much, much lower cost.
Luvada Wilson.
My economic vision for 10 years, I would just love to see East Side, West Side, South Side move progressively as well as downtown did. Downtown is beautiful, and the coastal land is going to be beautiful. But like I said before, it can't be an or kind of situation. It has to be downtown and East Side, downtown and West Side, downtown and the South Side. And I think that as we continue to build our infrastructure, our roads, our streets, et cetera, that we will have a better economic vision for the future.
Patricia Ferguson.
Well, my economic vision, and I'm hoping it doesn't take 10 years, is to have a disaster center. And also to build some kind of structure. Like I said, downtown, one of the housing complex have flooded, I think 3 times. So something needs to be done to protect those apartments and house it. EMS is just in case you need it. A disaster center will be just in case you need it. We don't even know how to care. Most of us don't know how to care for the wounded or something major might happen.
Gregg Peugeot.
Thank you. We're in a better place now than we were 10 years ago in Sandusky. 10 years from now, I want to be in a better place than we are now. I want it to be better. I want it to be safer. I want it to be more affordable. I want more home ownership and more affordable rents. I want better neighborhoods. Economic development we will be held accountable to create more jobs, better paying jobs, and more tourism tax revenue so that we can make all those things possible. Holding myself accountable, I'll be holding myself accountable in 4 years when I run again, in 8 years when I run after that. And that's the way I'm going to hold myself accountable to everyone in this room and everyone listening.
All right, thank you. We're going to move to closing statements. Closing statements will be 90 seconds in duration as opposed to 60 is what we've had for the questions. And I'm going to reverse the order of our opening statement. So I'm going to can go from right to left. Tom Tucker.
Thank you for your time. Thank you for allowing us to come here and meet with the people. In my background, I've always had community involvement. As superintendent, I had a lot of community meetings, and they weren't meetings like this. They were small meetings with people where you could actually talk. Meetings like this, sometimes residents don't get a chance to speak, or they feel somewhat intimidated standing up in a large group. It's better to have small groups. Meet at this coffee shop, just come to somebody's home and have some of the neighbors in and just listen and talk. That's where you really get some real conversation going. And I've been fiscally responsible. It is important to keep your budget in line so it doesn't go over the top. Housing is important. I see that with the mental health board. I also dealt with that with the students. There was a lot of times as a principal, a lot of times as some of my leaders had to find places for students to stay because parents lost their homes or the rental was there. That is a very, very big priority of mine. I don't know that came through earlier, but that is a very, very big priority. And continue building this city up, and hopefully what has happened in the last 10 years, we can double that in the next 10 years. Thank you.
Gregg Peugeot.
Thanks. Thank you very much. I really appreciate you guys taking the time to come out here and to listen to this. I'm excited to be a good teammate for the city of Sandusky more than anything else. All of us are going to be one of 7 commissioners for the city. So we're going to be working with that team. We're going to be working with all the city employees that are on our team. and we're going to be working with the resources and partners that we have out there. And I'm gonna communicate and collaborate, listen and learn. And if we all do that, we're going to have a better, safer, and more affordable Sandusky.
Patricia Ferguson.
Well, I'm hoping that each one that's sitting here might put it in their mind to have a block watch or block party to really get to know their neighbors, just in case there's an emergency, you're there to help them. I think that would tighten us as a community together if we would just watch out for each other. Like I said, in some neighborhoods, they don't even know their neighbor across the street. So I want to build a safe place and also a friendly place. You know, we have a lot of tourists coming in this city, but we kind of separated just in one block. Can one person say, I know everybody in my block? My number is given to them just in case of an emergency.
Luvada Wilson.
I am so glad this is over. I was a little nervous here. I want to thank you all for having me here today. There are 5 of us up here and only 3 of us will make it in. I want to be one of those 3. So I ask that you vote for me, as early voting has already begun. If you haven't voted today, there is tomorrow. I need you to get out and vote. I need you to take someone with you. I want to be the kind of commissioner that listens to the community, that applies all the facts that I can get, and then that uses wisdom to make a choice. So I thank you again for your time this evening. God bless you guys.
And for our final closing statement, Timothy Schwanger.
Luvada, we're going to do this again next week, so be prepared. I've got a 3-word motto, folks. It's listen, learn, and act. If I get elected, my phone's always going to be on. I may not have your answer, but I'll find that answer, or I'll direct you to the proper department head. If that department head doesn't get back with you, then I'm going to follow up and we're going to get her done. Okay. Now, I think that it's important that the public get involved. Okay. So I'm on social media. I run a Facebook page. And there's a lot of people that are Facebook warriors, and you have your complaints and you share those complaints. And I enjoy taking those complaints, and I enjoy sharing those complaints and concerns and ideas with the city manager and the city commission. But you also need to take charge, and you also need to share your concerns personally. My Facebook page that I run, and it's not just me, we offer every city commissioner's address, their phone number, their contact information. And I encourage each and every one of you to follow up with that. If you don't know what the Facebook page is, see me after this meeting and I'll share that information with you. Thank you.
All right, let's give a nice round of applause for our candidates tonight. Great civic dialogue, and let's applaud the audience for also participating in great civic dialogue. And thank you for joining us tonight for this GSP Election 2025 Candidate Forum. Early voting began today, and Election Day is Tuesday, November 4th. Polls will be open from 6:30 a.m. to 7:30 p.m. Contact the Erie County Board of Elections to find your polling location and voting information if you don't have it already. Thank you for joining us. Have a good evening.